And so if I could tell that boy who was battling anxiety at the time, just didn't know what it was and wasn't something people talked about a lot, I would look him in his eyes and I would say, hey, what's for you is going to find you. Your mission is going to find you. Trust the process. Put yourself around good people. Keep your faith, and it's going to be okay. And it's going to be okay.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I am your host and coach, Tyler Johnson. And whether you've tuned in to elevate your mindset, your game, or just your day, you are in the right place. My guest this episode is a former collegiate and professional basketball player. And after spending several years in the classroom, he has now founded Breathing is Freedom, where he fulfills his mission to equip others with the tools to navigate life's ups and downs. Please welcome to the Elev8 podcast, Malcom Boone. Yeah, it's great to have you. It's great to get introduced to you through a great friend of mine, and had a great conversation. I was like, man, we got to get on the podcast and talk some more about all the stuff we like. But for those that might not kind of know your background, like I got an opportunity, love to share with kind of like the audience just a little bit, take us a little bit from, college and pro sports to the work you're doing now.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, thinking back, collegiate athlete, basketball was my jam. Played for 4 years at a school in Northeast Pennsylvania. And then after that, really didn't know what I wanted to do. Had an idea, wanted to play overseas, but didn't know if that was going to happen. Fortunately enough, my brother had been out there for, I believe, 5 or 6 years already. So that was an awesome plug. He was able to get me over there. And then, yeah, man, from then played 3 years in Germany. So that was an amazing time, amazing people, the culture, everything about Germany and Europe as a whole was really awesome. But then coming back, I didn't know what was next because the career ended. I really didn't know what I wanted to do after that. Kind of went through that whole identity crisis thing of everybody knew me for
Yeah.
hooping. That was my thing, right? And so that was put on hold and worked a few small odd jobs in the meantime. But eventually, 2 years later, I did dive into the teaching world. So I spent 3 years in New York City getting my master's and teaching at a charter school in NYC. Left there, went to a private school down in Georgia, taught there for 5 years, and then actually just stepped away from that institution and now just started up my own business as a public speaking, wellness, and resilience consultant
Yeah.
for schools and for small businesses, for companies, for anybody looking to slow down in this fast-paced world, for anybody looking to build that mental fortitude and resilience. That is my mission now. I've seen a lot of it in the classroom and I've seen a lot of it in this world, man. And so that's what I'm locked in on now. And that's what I'm looking to do and serve others in that space.
Yeah, I remember getting some chills and goosebumps a bit when we chatted, and you were sharing a bit about some of the things you would bring to the classroom. Could you share with a little bit about some of those things you brought to the classroom and maybe some of the differences that it made in young people?
Of course, of course. So it started when I was in New York City, inner city, kids with a lot of energy, and the word mindfulness, the word breathing and breath work was never really a thing until one day these two social workers came into both mine and my co-teacher's classroom and asked if we wanted to dive into the mindfulness world. They
Mm.
had some prompts that they shared with us, and while a lot of teachers were turning them down and turning them away, we welcomed them in. We invited them and said, yes, please, we'd love to. And I think for me, TJ, it was when we started to share some of these different prompts. It could literally be something as simple as just focus on your inhale coming in, focus on your exhale going out. and I want you to look at one thing while you do it. It can be your pencil, it can be the crayon on your desk, it can be the desk itself, doesn't matter. And when I started to see kids that have so much energy, I'm talking about on all day long,
Yeah.
start to drift off into these mini sleeps. Started seeing kids going to sleep. I started seeing kids just taking a load off from their minds and their
Mm,
bodies. And
yeah.
that's when I said to myself, okay, this does work. And so ever since then, ever since that year in the classroom, every classroom I went in after that, I always made sure to bring a piece of that with me and sprinkle it in. I'd start classes with it. We'd come in from recess, we'd take a couple deep breaths. It just became this mindfulness space with the kids. And so I started seeing a bigger, broader awareness in the kids. I started to see greater calm. I started to see kids being more compassionate, being kinder to other kids. And I started seeing kids learning about it. And
Mm,
once they learn, especially at that age, elementary school, we're talking,
yeah.
they start sharing it like rapid fire. And they're aware and they see when things are off, oh, you should try this breathing pattern, try this, try that. And from then, man, I knew that there was something there and I needed to make that my life's mission, my life's mission.
Yeah. I love, you know, you mentioned the age. And I think when you're around students, student athletes, you see the contagious social behaviors, good both ways.
Sure, sure.
In this account, yeah, this is like a positive, infectious, tool, but they've got to kind of, I think, learn and understand it. And I think a lot of times my experience sometimes in coaching at even, the high school age sometimes is there's a hesitance to allow them to slow down. And I
Yes.
think that coaches that have embraced maybe just a few minutes
Mhm.
of this for young people start to see the benefit. Uh, if you had to give a quick testimony on a coach to why to include just a couple minutes
Mhm.
of some of the things maybe you already talked about, or maybe some things you can share with us that they
Yeah.
could bring into a simple practice,
Mhm.
uh, what would you say?
Go against the grain because it's okay to do things that most people don't want to do. I truly feel being mindful, being aware of the way in which you're breathing. Number one, it's science. It is simply your physiological makeup.
Yeah,
And when we start factoring in the science piece, that's one thing. But I truly think it's something that gives athletes, kids, adults an edge on life. Because if you're not aware of that, if you're not implementing practices like this, you're going to be one speed, and that's
mm,
all you will know. And then you will sort of blend in with everything and everyone else. Whereas when you're adopting practices like this, it gives you a greater sense of awareness.
yeah. Was this something you in your career that, or is it not really till these social workers brought this program? Maybe you
Mhm.
had some things that you used in your career that were familiar, but there's some things in your athletic career that you used around the mindfulness and breathing that you found helpful?
Not really. Not really. I think that was more of the resilience piece. I mean,
Mm,
coming out of college, I was a buck 95, soaking wet. And I had to learn how to keep up with a lot of those athletes and those players over there. A lot of former D1 guys, a
yeah,
lot of just high elite European players. So my overseas and my college days were more, okay, we need to push. We need to do that. I think stepping into the space of a third grade classroom that has 30 plus kids in there that don't know anything about slowing down, that's when it really hit me.
yeah,
And that's when I really took it with me and ran with it.
yeah. Um, your uh, eh, company, is it Breathing is Freedom? Is that what you call it?
That is correct,
Expand on that. I love that those three words together. Tell me more.
for sure. I feel that breathing is something that can either trap you or free you. And the origin story behind that is I want to help it free other people. When you think of somebody having a panic attack, when you think of somebody who is hyperventilating, when you think of somebody going through a very, very high stressful moment in their life, one of the first things that you normally see in them is a loss of breath in some way, shape, or form. Their breathing is literally trapping them. It's the hyperventilation. They're closing in, they're caving in. With breathing is freedom. Allow that breathing to free you. When we breathe with intention, when we breathe openly, when we breathe freely, you change so many areas, not just of your mind and your body, but just of your life. And I always like to say, TJ, we take about 20,000 breaths a day,
Mhm.
and it's unfortunate that for the majority, not one of those breaths are mindful or intentional.
Yeah.
It's straight autopilot.
Yeah. What is there a favorite way, especially at young age, elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
that you like to introduce this when it might be, yeah, like you said, they've never heard of
Mm-hmm.
this concept, these words.
Yeah. Yes.
What is a simple way you like to introduce connecting to a couple of those 20,000 breaths a day?
Mm-hmm. I love to connect it universally, meaning it's the one thing that brings us all together.
Mm,
We're all not going to be the same height. We're all not going to be the same weight. We're not going to all make the same money. We're not going to all work the same job, but we all breathe.
mm,
And when we bring awareness to that, when we say, hey, let's lock in on that, let's all just breathe together, because it's not something being talked about in a lot of spaces. And so that's why I wanted to make it my mission to be in the classroom with these kids and give them something different. I wanted to give them a different feel. And if they said, hey, Mr. Boone, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, that's one thing. But the way that these kids bought in, I mean, TJ, I left that school in May of 2025, and I still have kids till this day in September saying, Mr. Boone, I was stressed out the other day, but I made sure to do my breathing and I felt better right away. I got kids from 5 years ago
yeah.
telling me, hey, my brother, he was walking around all day and his shoulders were super high. And I just went over to him and tapped him on his shoulders and he brought him down. It's
Mm,
awareness, right? So you get you give them something one time or multiple times. You never know what's going to stick, and you never know how they're going to take it, apply it, run with it, and change their life with it.
well, you're gonna keep getting those messages for a long time as you keep doing this work. I'm pretty sure, Malcolm.
Okay.
But I think
Thanks,
that's
my man.
that transformational effect that it can have on young people. And
Mhm.
I think the over the last year, the times when I've been teaching that to students, the conversations afterwards tend to have this tone, and I'd love to see if maybe this is, I don't know, maybe it's familiar or something
Mhm.
with the people, but the kids almost sometimes the words that would come up like, I didn't know I could do that.
Mhm.
Or I didn't know I had permission. Like they needed permission to have one of these breaths with their mind.
Yes.
But it's this kind of this part of their aha moment of understanding is this permission. And I think for me, I think, and I think we've probably noticed is when we create space,
Mhm.
we start to, give permission.
That's right.
And is that something that you sense with young people kind of as they've had this aha moments and they start to use some of these tools and feel some of these tools? Um, and then kind of to that effect, what would you encourage, around how can maybe educators, maybe coaches that might be listening and saying, how do I create just a little bit of space to do this? This is not my forte. My coaches never led me, my teachers never led me through this,
Yeah,
but I want to.
that's right.
Um, what can we do?
Yeah. Remind yourself that it's okay. Remind yourself that every expert was once a beginner. Remind yourself that everybody's going through something,
Mm,
and continue to remind yourself that there's only good that can come from it.
yeah.
If we sat here right now, TJ, and we took three deep breaths together, I don't think at the end of that third breath, you're going to be so upset with me and me and you're going to start arguing. And no, Like only good is going to come from this in the moment. And so I would encourage coaches, players to continue, yes, to give yourself permission, remind yourself that it's okay to do something for yourself that costs nothing, is going to provide benefit for you, and is going to give you an edge, not just on the court, field, classroom, but in life.
Yeah,
And that's the big thing. These skills are larger than sports.
big time.
These skills are larger than school. These skills are for life. And that's what I always stress with my students. I said, guys, you're in third grade, you're in fourth grade, you're in fifth grade. You won't be here forever. You won't be in this classroom forever. Eventually, you're going to move on to middle school. You're going to move on to high school. If college is your thing, you're going to go to college. But all throughout that entire time, you are learning and growing. Stressful moments are going to come. And that's okay. But guess what? You are going to have a tool in your back pocket to be able to access when things are overwhelming and when things get very stressful. So take those tools, hold on to it, use it when you need to, but they're always there.
Yeah.
And then again, just setting the tone, and reminding yourself it's okay to do these things.
Love that. Kind of on that tools and resources, as you got into this space where there's some people, books or things that you found really helpful to, increase your knowledge and the way that you're able to share and teach these things that you can share with people.
Of course. So my brother attended NYU and he was there for 4 years. He had a friend that was on the women's team, the women's basketball team. Her name was Sarah McDevitt. And Sarah created a device called Core.
Mm.
And Core is a meditation device that you hold in your hand. You place your thumbs on it. On the device, it has these biosensors. So you hold it in your hand. There's an app for it. You can do different guided breath work. You can do guided meditations, soundscapes. You can do it all. But it's cool because once you finish a session, it gives you that feedback. Tracks your HRV, your heart rate variability, your heart rate. It lets you know how calm you are, how focused you are, how recovered you are for the day. And so that has been a tool that has absolutely changed my life. And once I started to engage with this, once I started to play around with Core, everything shifted. Everything shifted because it gave me the feedback in real time.
Yeah.
And so I would always say, all right, cool. I'm feeling it right now. I'm going through a moment. Let me grab my Core device. Let me do a quick session. There's another one, another meditation device called Moonbird. You hold it one hand, place your thumb on it, same sort of concept.
Okay.
You hold it, it inflates. You'll feel it actually start to inflate in your hand. That's your cue to inhale. It'll deflate. That's your cue to exhale. So
Okay.
it's syncing the breathing with what's happening with the device. And then again, when you're done, it gives you that feedback. And these are both devices that I brought into my class with my students, had them try, and watched them fall in love with.
Yeah.
So it was like a video game for them.
Yeah.
They would do a session, they'd be like, Mr. Boone,
Yeah.
my HRV is, you know, 69. I'm like, all right, cool. We can bump that up. We can get that to 72. Let's keep working on our breathing. Let's keep working on our sleep. All these things come in a couple of days later. Mr. Boone, I got it up to 74. So it became a game for them. But at the same time, it was improving their holistic health.
Yeah.
So those two devices, those two people, and just just the daily practice of
Yeah.
breathing.
Yeah, it just gets me like excited. Like these kids know what these like things are. Because I'm just like thinking bigger picture. And then you're talking about like I've had a Whoop device, and
Yes.
so I've had measuring HRV and things where it's like, yeah, I can notice when I eat more leafy greens, I get better
Yes.
sleep, and I'm getting more magnesium probably from those. And but if I eat a lot of, sugar, and it's like, man, there's so many other things that you can teach and correlate when we know the simple signals.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think I'm just like, well, these kids know what HR. I didn't know what HRV was till I was, late 30s.
Right.
Right? Like I didn't. Doctor never told me that. I was an athlete, and I think
Sure.
um, you brought up a cool point. I think
Mhm.
I think working with coaches and kids, maybe you hear this. I think kind of terminology like meet them where they're at,
Yeah.
and and I think because I was probably one of those kids. If you told me just to sit still and try this, it would have been more difficult. But if you give me a decor device or Moonbird to kind of see and prove
Yes.
myself wrong because kids are sus, right? Sus, we're all like sus, right? Right? And
Right.
so, you got to be able to kind of break through that sus level
Yep.
to kind of create trust around things.
Hmm.
Um, can you talk more about like kind of some of those video game symptoms that are positive that we can kind of gravitate towards when it comes to kind of some of our health and signals that kids were seeing?
Yeah. So, I mean, life is life is almost like a video game. So I think finding that comparison and yes, meeting them where they are, but also, I mean, if you helping them build the awareness, because like you said, the sus and all this terminology that I knew nothing about till I really stepped into the classroom, you know, it's helping them where they are, how they're feeling, what they're going through, because when kids are playing video games, they're here, they're so intense, they're so into it. And I had a kid one time, he told me, "Oh, Mr. Boone, I was so into my video game this past weekend, but all of a sudden I realized that my shoulders were at my ears, because I was so tense. So because I have the awareness, I was able to bring them down. I had my watch on, because kids wear Apple Watches nowadays, and they checked their heart rate. Oh, wait, my heart rate was so high. It was like 101. And I realized that that was because I was so into this video game. I was so into what I was doing, and it was raising my heart rate. I had a girl come into my class one time and she told me, "Mr. Boone, I got to let you know what happened to me yesterday." I said, "All right, girl, go ahead, break it down." And she said, "Well, I was sitting in class and I had my watch on. I looked down and I saw that my heart rate was 102. I said, were you just doing something beforehand? Did the teacher have you guys out of your chairs, doing jumping jacks or anything like that?" She said, "No, I was literally just sitting there." And I said, "Wow, all right, what'd you do about it?" And she said, "Well, I inhaled deep and I exhaled long." And I watched it go from 102 to 98. She did it again, 98, 92. Again, 92, 86, 86, 82, 82, 77. So this little girl, fifth grade, by the way,
Wow.
said, "Mr. Boone, I realized number one, because what you aren't aware of is going to be very hard to change. So if you don't have the awareness, it's going to be really hard to change it." That's why I always teach these kids about awareness.
Hmm.
She was aware of it. She knew what to do. She had the tool in her pocket. And then the last step is to act. So be aware, make sure you have the tools, and then apply the tools. And watching her do that at 11 years old was absolutely incredible. So it takes it back to your point of like a video game. Like, watch me drop this down. I bet you I can do it.
Yeah.
Make it fun, make it challenging.
Yeah. No, I think that yeah. I also like the dynamic of there's a healthy competitive to us because you can't help me, right? I can take that breath. And so it's gets me back into me versus that external world. And so that's some people are like, "Oh, well, devices, and it's like, well, yeah, we can use it in a good way.
Yes,
There's some good applications of tech. So but I like that it's like, I can't take the breath for you.
that's right.
And so it really, that last thing you talk, you got to act,
Yes.
but yeah, and I think take steps to learn. I think even um, as I like even this morning, I think it was a beautiful rainy morning. So I was like, I'm gonna take advantage of this,
Yeah.
take a slow morning today. But
Mm.
then as I got into my day, I was a little behind my schedule. I was like, I got Malcolm coming up. But then I was like, I didn't get my morning meditation in because I was letting the rain do its thing.
Hmm.
And but then yeah, I could just feel that difference
Yes.
in my mind and settle in that settling effect. Uh, but yeah, we got to have that awareness
Yes, you do.
and then that tools in the action. And so I love that just that simple methodology to teach. Um, I want to ask about it's going through your Instagram a little bit.
Yeah,
And
yeah, for
I think I
sure.
watch all these videos, but a couple of things I wanted to share that I hadn't techniques. I saw one I would love you to share about that I saw honey breathing.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to me about what honey breathing is and how we do that.
Yes. So honey breathing is actually one of the breathing exercises I learned through core. And I love it because when you think about honey, imagine I was pouring some honey, it would come out nice and slow. It would hit wherever it was going and it would all start to fizzle down. But the idea of honey is slow, smooth, with an emphasized exhale being longer than the inhale. So it's 4 seconds in and 8 seconds out. You want to go through it?
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
can take you through it. Let's go. All right. So wherever you are is where you are. All right. Now plug. Sometimes an 8 second exhale is hard for a lot of people. They say, how can I exhale for 8 seconds? So I want you to imagine slightly cinching the back of your throat as if you were trying to fog a mirror on a cold day. So that sound that you make,
Okay.
that's the sound you're going to make with your mouth closed on the exhale. So it
Okay.
sounds like
Okay.
what that's going to do is increase the length, the depth, and the pace of your exhale. So you'll
Like
be
just
more in control of it. You'll be able to do it for a longer time, and it's going to be much easier versus just you just run out of air. All right. So let's take honey breathing through for one.
all right.
Start with a quick, slow exhale, and then we'll start on that inhale. So just let everything out. And we'll come in for 4, and then out for 8. How do you feel?
Good. Good. I like that the cue you gave with the back of the throat to help because yeah, I think that sometimes especially the people you're working with are anxious in the moment. Sometimes it's hard to get to 8.
Exactly. Like
Or
I'm running out. I'm running out.
yeah. It takes no, I like that. Thank you for taking us through that. Excellent demonstration. The other one is it vert breathing?
Vent.
Vent. Sorry, my
Yes.
scribbles. I was like vent, my
That's
N,
all
not
right.
R. I was
That's
like
all right.
vent breathing. Yeah, tell me about vent.
I got you, of course. So vent is more so of an emotional release. We don't always have somebody to vent to, spouse, friend, therapist, counselor. So this breathing pattern is more in line of helping you release those emotions.
Mm,
So it's a simple just inhale. And the key here is a 5 second hold and then a long, slow exhale.
okay.
So when we focus on that hold intentionally, a lot of the times when we are stressed and overwhelmed or highly anticipating something, we unknowingly hold our breath. And so when we intentionally hold our breath, that's going to provide a ton of different benefits. It's going to temporarily cut off the supply of oxygen to the brain. It's going to increase lung capacity. It's almost going to sort of put us in this clear headed space, almost just for the moment, just for a little while. And then on that exhale, long and slow, it helps us to relax, find our composure, be able to move forward smoothly.
I love that.
Yes,
Nice.
sir. Yes, sir.
Um, as we kind of wind down,
Hmm.
one or two more questions.
Of course.
In your career, was
Hmm.
there a coach or somebody that stood out and you felt made a larger difference in you um, outside of basketball? And curious what that impact they had on you might have been.
Outside of basketball. So, you know, TJ, there's a couple of different names that are popping up in my head right now. And I think I'm going to tie it back to a person named BJ Gador.
Okay.
BJ Gador he's the former fitness director for Men's Health. He is a business owner, great friend of both my brother and I. And he's very heavily involved in the fitness space. Just a great guy, just a down to earth guy, super awesome. I say him, and I could say a bunch of different people, but he came to mind, so I'm going to go with it.
All right.
BJ helped me tremendously. I think more than he'll ever know, because back in this, it was actually summer, early fall of 2021, my brother and I and two buddies were involved in a very, very tragic car accident. Got hit head on by a drunk driver, and I was in the front seat, two buddies in the back, injuries pretty significant. Everybody made it out alive, which was great. But it was a long journey ahead.
Mm,
And so when I think about my journey after that car accident, I broke my sternum straight through, separated my collarbone. So I couldn't push, pull, twist, do anything with the upper body for a few months, 5 months, I think. So I was kind of out. And my lifestyle is very get up and go. I wake up early, I train early, I do the things.
yeah.
Couldn't do that. That was put on hold for a little while. But I had this moment where I wanted to just say, just throw in the towel
Mm,
in terms of my fitness and in terms of getting over that. Not my life, but my fitness and my mindset. I wanted to let all that go.
mm,
I'm like, yeah, no, this is whatever. I was playing the victim.
mm,
BJ Gador, he challenged me in a moment where I needed challenge probably the most, arguably the most in my life. And he put me on this lunge journey because he told me, he said, hey, if you can walk, you can lunge. I know you can't do burpees. I know you can't do pull-ups, push-ups, presses. I know that. But if you can walk, then you can lunge. So I'm going to put you on this lunge journey. And I want you to start out with 1 minute today. I want you to do walking lunges only for 1 minute today. Tomorrow, you're going to do 2 minutes. The next day, you're going to do three. And if you need to take a break within the days, that's fine. Do that. But eventually, TJ, the goal was for me to get to 60 minutes straight of walking lunges.
mm.
And on December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2021, in Sugarloaf, New York, where my parents lived at the time, 28 degrees outside, snow everywhere, I reached the 60-minute mark because that
Yeah.
was the day that was designed for 60 minutes. And I could have had every excuse in the book. I'm not going outside,
Yeah.
let alone do lunges. Are you crazy? No, we're going to go outside and we're going to do what we told ourselves we were going to do. And so I think that BJ putting me on that journey, that BJ holding me accountable, that BJ giving me something that allowed me to go against the grain. I tell him all the time, but I always feel like I have to say it again. He'll never understand how grateful I am for him because of that moment, but how that shifted my mindset coming out of something very dark, but going into something very light that I can now apply to my life and help others
Yeah.
along the way.
Yeah, it's a great story. Thanks for sharing.
Of
All
course.
right, got to do some walking lunges in my workout today.
Come on now.
Get in there,
You got to.
get him burning today in honor of that one.
There you go.
But yeah, yeah. Last question.
Yes, sir.
I always like to find out if we gave you the old time machine and got to send you back to teenage Malcolm.
Mm,
Um, with your basketball journey and your teaching journey and the journey you're on now and your
mm.
mission. If you had a few words to share with teenage self, what would you want to remind yourself?
What's meant for you will find you,
Tell me more.
and everything will be okay.
Mm,
Growing up, especially in my teenage years, TJ, I worried about what my future would look like so much, so much. I mean, I told myself I was going to be in the NBA. I told myself I was going to be this and that. But I worried about being successful, whatever that means. I worried about making it. I worried about being famous. Teenage Malcolm had to make it, had to play Division 1, didn't do that, played Division 3, had to go to the NBA, didn't do that, went overseas. It was a thing of so much worry. And so if I could tell that boy who was battling anxiety at the time, just didn't know what it was and wasn't something people talked about a lot, I would look him in his eyes and I would say, hey, what's for you is going to find you. Your mission is going to find you. Trust the process, put yourself around good people, keep your faith, and it's going to be okay. And it's going to be okay. That's what I would have told him.
Well, Malcolm, thank you for sharing everything you did about your journey and so many great tools and all the love hearing the stories about the kids. Man, those are powerful and amazing. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. TJ, thank you so much for having me, man. This was an honor. I truly appreciate you.
Yeah.